Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. I just wanted to jump on. We just did the Pisces live. First of all, thank you guys for your patience. The video was extremely delayed. It was like at least a day, I think. We were waiting on that. So thank you guys for your patience with the upload there. I'm seeing the number 22. Pisces has had quite an exciting round of readings. Remember that we all have Pisces energy somewhere in our birth chart. So if you feel guided to watch any of those readings, know as well that Pisces this month and within these particular few months is going to be up to bat and at play, just overall, given that the rulers of Pisces are both retrograde. So we're all facing a review of some part of our birth chart when it comes to that energy. So do not hesitate if you feel guided, but always use your personal intuition to watch those readings. Even if you're like, well, I'm technically a sun sign Virgo, Aries, Taurus, you may absolutely still find insights in those readings, especially, let's give an example, like let's say you're a sun sign Taurus or Libra and you have Venus in Pisces. Well, holy hot damn, you might really resonate when it comes to matters of love with Pisces readings. That's a side note just in general, not just during this time, but in general, but specifically during this time, the part of your chart associated with Pisces, the planets you have in Pisces, will be coming up for review, and it will be really sort of magnified and intensified as a concept. You might find, whoa, like matters of this house, the house that let's say you got Venus in Pisces, let's say that it's in the 6th house for you, matters of the 6th house plus matters of Venus, especially in general, will really be coming up for review. And then further, again, matters of Pisces, which is in general for everyone, but for you in particular, it will be where you've got that Pisces energy. So but let's clear the energy ground and see. That's a side note coming up. Of course, you might resonate with every sign or any other particular planetary placements that are personal for you, like your moon. The moon is very personal. Mercury, very personal. Usually Mercury is not too far off from your sun sign. You'll usually have, it's not more than usually a sign away. Hello, Amy Lee. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your... Is it Aussie dollar donation? Aussie dollars. Thank you for your donation, for tuning in. Thank you everyone for your super chats. And those of you who do donate, actually offline, off of the lives, I see them, I appreciate them. Thank you for your donations. Let's see anything else here coming up. Wow. Yeah, no, this is huge, you guys. This is really, I'm seeing, it's funny. There's a focus on the number 8, obviously. We just passed over the new moon. I wanted to chat about this in general. We've been really hounding these we've been talking about this on members, but I wanted to get on and talk live about this as well because it was a big deal. The new moon in Leo that we just passed over. It's funny. Sometimes I really tend to find that the energy associated with the new moon or full moon is even more so felt after the technical full moon or new moon. So the energy, the concepts associated with the new moon, sometimes I'm like, I personally am feeling it like really strongly here a few days after. So side note, if you're like, well, the new moon passed, but I'm still feeling like something going on here, yeah, probably going to be feeling it until at least the first quarter stage. So general note, I find that the new moon and the full moon, and we talked about this more so in members, but in general, you will find that the energy pivots at the first quarter, second quarter stage. So when it's a full moon, it pivots at the second quarter stage. When it's the new moon, it pivots at the first quarter stage. So thank you. Who's this? LJ Tyson Music. Thank you for your donation. Is that Canadian dollars? Interesting. It's always interesting to say. Yeah. Thank you for all your work. Now, very sweet. Thank you guys for tuning in. And note as well that we're all experiencing these transits and in our own ways. So if you want to go one-on-one, we can work one-on-one, and we can do that. I'm still offering the August readings, and still sometimes it's even nice to look at your birth chart in retrospect and see, oh wow, what was going on, those few days, and retrospectively see what was going on in your birth chart at that time. So don't hesitate if you're like, oh, I really want to look at the birth chart, take a deeper dive, but it's already a few days into August. Don't worry. I will keep an eye as well on those reports for anything that I see really coming up, even, a month or so ahead of time. So I take a generalized approach to those readings for those of you who are curious. The link is alchemyinu.com. I adjusted it so that all the personal services that are now available come up when you click on the personal reading, the astrology readings and reports, and the readings too, because it's, well, I don't know actually if it's under readings, but it includes a reading. So yeah, and that's pretty much where we leave off with the personal services these days. I'm not really doing personal readings unless it is associated with the astro report. So just because I want to focus like really on astrology, and I feel like that's a great measure, you know, and it was just getting very, very strange. People ordering private readings on me and them, and I'm like, okay, this is not the point. Like, it's, no. And we have to look at it for what it is. And sometimes even if you do go to reading, you know, it's like people want to like control what comes through, like, oh, I need to know like this and that. It's like, no. Like, your higher self has an agenda, and that's who I'm speaking to. I'm not talking to your human 3D self. You want to know certain what the answer is to so-and-so. If you're not meant to know, it's just not going to come through, and I can't be held accountable for that because I'm just the messenger. So yeah, I'm just kind of like, you know, just making it simple, just kind of like, you know, just making it simple, and you know, going to be only doing astrology as the template for the readings. So obviously, if messages do come through in relation to a certain partnership, relationship, area of life, if it's something that I'm feeling guided to communicate, I will communicate it, of course. That's the point. But it's not going to be something where it's like specific questions and like, tell me like for certain, like, and then it's like they don't like your answer, and it's like, but like tell me for certain. Like, no. That's where you're trying to force something in your own life, and yeah. So I'm not here to just like say what you want to hear as well, and that's for myself as well. Sometimes we all like, we're in that moment, but you know, we know what we're ready for in terms of the higher self connection to certain concepts that we're experiencing. Exactly, Corianne. Like, if it's meant to be, when it's meant to be, like. So yeah, and if that is a message for you, like if you feel like you're feeling, and not just between if you've ordered a private reading, I'm not really thinking about that. Just in general though, if you're like, I really need the answer, that's actually a sign you really do not need the answer, and that it's really not the focus of the point, because love flows. We don't need anything in relation to love in order to feel love, to manifest it, and to feel that it's something that we have within us. So if it's something you're feeling like, I have to have the answer, then it's going to be something that is a conditional space of feel, and that's mostly a Pluto streak moment that you want to, at that point you want to look at your birth chart, and again, it all comes back to the birth chart as I see it. So again, scaling it down, just working with astrology mostly, but I will do readings, and so anything that does come up, and it's a channeled space, right, of course, so yeah. That's a side note for those of you who are curious about the private services that I do now offer. Yeah, but again, if that's the place you're at, and we all can feel that way, it's like, I need to know, you know, that I would look at your birth chart, look at where you got Scorpio energy, look at where you've got, you know, that's related to the concept of control, the perceived notion of control, and, you know, I'm hearing the assets of others, which is ruled by Scorpio, 8th house energy. So look at your Pluto, your Mars, etc. And if this is something that you're grappling with, you know, feel free to comment it in the notes section if you are ordering an astrology report, and I can look at your birth chart and see, you know, what tendencies may be suggested by way of the birth chart that may speak to a particular predisposition of, you know, I feel like I need to, like, you know, and that might also be an obsessive energy that we can see via Virgo energy or very strong Mercury energy. Even Libra, where the mind is really involved, we get hooked on things. That's more Scorpio and air energy. So if that's a focus for you, and you know it's a tendency, and you're like, I want to get out of the cycle of needing to understand, and it might not just apply to relationships, but in general, then, you know, I will see that in the birth chart, and I'll point it out. But if it's something you want to focus on specifically, we, you know, note that in your chart notes, and we can address it like more so specifically and more in your reading or your report. But yeah, so, but beyond that, great time to mention as well that we have 3 planets in Virgo right now, and this includes the moon, and it includes as well, Mars, and which is a vital life force placement, right? This rules our energy levels. We feel Mars energy on a daily basis. To say it as well in this way, you might really find that you might really resonate with your Mars sign. That's where astrology is so conclusive. We have to look at the whole birth chart to really see, you know, what is it that is at play. It goes so far beyond the sun sign. You may really feel your Mars energies. So watching your Mars sign may really provide further insights. And What further? Yeah, so we currently have Mars in Virgo. Currently have Mars in Virgo, Venus as well. Yeah, so, and this is key because Venus and Mars are, they're synergistic sort of planetary energies. Venus is what you desire. Mars is how you assert what you want, how you go after it, how you express yourself, how you physically especially express yourself. Now, the moon is also in Virgo for a few days, so we have a really strong pocket here of 6th house, Mercury, air energies. I see Virgo as kind of on that cusp of air and earth. So, if you're somebody who has, yet again, a lot of Virgo, you might find, and Mercury rules the nervous system, you might want to note that these few days might feel a little anxious. Okay, it can be. That can be one manifestation of Virgo energy, Mercury energy, but it can also be getting down to it, finishing your, to-dos list sort of thing, so many ways. But if you are feeling, and that you have this predisposition where it's like, I feel sometimes anxious, you might want to look at how you're channeling the Virgo energy. These are wonderful times and opportunities to be able to assess, how am I channeling my energies? Whenever we have a stellium, that's where we're really looking very closely at that very particular archetype. And and if you've got that personal stellium in your birth chart, like, that's a really big sort of magnifying glass moment with how you're channeling your propensities in the birth chart and in 3D. So let's see, anything else here? Yeah, anyone who I've known who's had a lot of Virgo or a lot of Gemini is usually they got a very cerebral sort of energy disposition at times, where they have a very powerful mind, but it comes down to how it is that's sitting in balance and in harmony with the other aspects of your being. Because otherwise then we can get so tense, like needing to like understand and figure out and like all the details. And we talked about this concept in members we talked really about it in every program, the monthly, the weekly, and really 48 hours as well. By the way, we'll jump on that tonight. So, but yeah, in general, we talked about this really strong Mars and Venus and Moon energy in Mercury in Virgo, and that this would be coming up as a sort of, I'm hearing also, test. So it can be like themes that you've already worked with coming up once more from the past, and that's really not surprising given that we've also got so many planets in retrograde, and in addition that we've had just a very intense new moon recently. So take it as you will. This is an intense time. If you're feeling kind of frenetic these few days, got a lot on your mind, tap into other elements. And if it's a dire situation, for example, where you're like, I'm feeling super anxious about this and I'm not able to concentrate on what I'm feeling, if you're making a decision and you're like, what's my head, what's my heart? Just focus on another element, like fire specifically. I would tap into the element of fire, but it will always be so dependent on your personal birth chart yet again. And you also have to heed the advice of your personal practitioner. We got to say that as well. But focus on the element of fire. If you're too much in your head these few days, focus on fire. Your physical body, what's physically here, for example. But again, always, it's about your interpretation, how you're perceiving this energy space. Let's clear and ground. Fire mudras. Interesting, Alicia Rose. Yeah. You definitely want to keep clearing your energy field as well, especially since we just moved through such an intense new moon. New moon is a wonderful time to release, to reconnect with what it is that is your intention. If you're feeling like I'm overwhelmed, I'm around too many people, I can't hear my own thoughts, but really, you've got to focus inward and definitely clear your aura, clear your energy field. Let's clear it around. Yeah. Some of you got to do a physical detox. I'm just feeling this, but you got to talk to your personal practitioner again. These things. But to make it simple, look at the primary constituents of your lifestyle. Diet, obviously, but in every way. What you're listening to, okay, the things you're watching, scale it down, make it simple. New moon is a wonderful time to just kind of clear the white noise and reconnect to you, clear and ground. Look at what you're drinking, the kind of air you're breathing, etc. If you are living in a big city and air is an issue, look into air purifiers. That's what I can recommend. When I was in LA, and they got really smoggy air there, and it was specifically though in the summer, this last summer, when it was really really smoggy over there. I got an air purifier, and that was one of the only ways. But yeah, to be in a city where there's a lot of nature, where it's like, that's the natural sort of lungs of the earth, right? Trees, plants, these sorts of things. You want to be more in nature. These are just tips coming through if it's something of a focus for you. But this is something maybe you've noticed more so around this time, around the new moon, like for some of you realizing I really just need a break, and need a break. And it could be something just very fundamental, like I'm not in nature. I'm hearing this for some of you. Yeah, let's clear around. Like, I'm not, and I'm seeing somebody exercising here. Like, what does your actual lifestyle look like? Are you feeling like, as a 3D in the human 3D form, that you're balanced? Are you getting enough exercise, enough sleep as well? Are you hydrating? What kind of foods are you eating? Is it nourishing you? Are you feeling grounded in your 3D element? That's really a question here. And again, not a huge surprise, Leo does rule the physical body as well, fire element. So, and that affects how we feel sometimes creatively. So if you're in a creative block, ask yourself, like, how am I nourishing my creative vessel? All right, so you guys, this was really fun. Again, let's clear it around. Let's see here. I'm going to just zoom into the chat. So you guys, this is lovely. Let's just keep, up with it. And yet again, we do have these warnings that are and have been, and just keep mind of that, but we're really making progress here is what I'm feeling in a collective sense. And so let's just keep on moving forward. Definitely some test the shadow space. That is to be expected as well. Interesting, accepted. But for some, we mentioned this as well in some deeper astro talks, that it will come down to how it is that everyone is experiencing confrontation here with certain aspects of their being, and shadow specifically. Are we letting it affect us, or are we observing and then deciding? So if you're feeling reactive and triggered, then maybe you want to ask yourself, how is it that I am not really in tune with how I am experiencing this transit? Very interesting. So, what is it that am I consciously experiencing this transit? Is it something that I'm able to connect to? You guys, the weather right now is getting wild. It's like turning into a tornado. Whoa, like literally, like a cloud, like it's like about to be like a storm. So yeah, that may be a metaphor for some, but it's clearing out. But getting back to it, if there are things that are coming up at this time, in other words, and they're bothering you, is it, how do we say, are we bypassing a certain step here? Are we being fully mindful? Are we aware of how we're experiencing this transit? I'm hearing that again as a question. So that might be a focus for some. If you are going to be involved in a certain situation that is like going to be kind of triggering to you, then outline how you would like to react, or how you would like to handle that particular situation, so that you're not thrown and thrust into it and then you're feeling blindsided by what comes up. I'm hearing for review at that time now. I'm hearing also in the interview. So I don't know, take it as you will. It's clear, definitely some planning energies, but also, yeah, it's about observation, I feel, because we can see so many things in so many situations. Like, let's say someone really is pissing us off with their behavior. We can look at it as like, that's it, like, I'm gonna throw a dart at the board, It's like, need to like, just disconnect from them. I'm hearing that as well. Not necessarily, we don't need to like disconnect from like shadow. It's just about, again, observation and enlightenment. I'm hearing that as well. Everything that does come up for review here this time is ultimately meant to help us better service on that journey of finding deeper peace with our soul life path, mission, and purpose. And what's going around? Yeah, usually when you're not on your path, that's where you'll feel frustrated and you'll feel more triggered than other times. I would find, like, otherwise you'll notice things as sort of relevant in any capacity, and not necessarily something that is meant to harm you or hurt you. So let's clear. Yeah, some of you, if you're dealing with a very triggering space or person and that, try to observe it as something that is I'm hearing actually a piece of interest in the grander puzzle of how you connect to your higher self. That's kind of the way that I can say it. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, Kara Cressman, trying to stay, he literally said, there you go. Yeah, trying to stay unhooked. That's a wonderful way to put it, because, and by the way, welcome Kimberly to monthly subscriptions, because you decide how you react to certain situations, right? And you decide, it's kind of like your currency. This is like your energy. This is your life force and your vitality. You decide who you want to give your energy field to, and not in a way of like, I'm going to let you drain me, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like who I entertain, like who's your interlocutor energetically, who you allow yourself to define that space. And if you're just like in reaction mode and it's like everything is just like the people you're interacting with are getting to you in a not helpful way, that's where you want to step back and you want to ask yourself, so what am I saying to myself first before I engage with this person? So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll get further into these concepts tonight in 48 hours, where we will talk at length about and get in the deeper sort of crevices of these transits for these next few days. I find yet again astrology a wonderful, wonderful way to feel more grounded with what does come up. It's sort of like a syllabus sort of energy. It's kind of like looking at the weather. I personally would like to know if there's a thunderstorm here, you know, rolling through, so that I don't necessarily have to avoid it, because thunderstorms can also feel fun, right? At times, but so that I am, you know, in my grounded space of observing what it means to me at this time, right? Observing what it is and then being able to work with that energy space and to direct and guide myself the way that I want to experience this change. So yet again, let's clear around. Everyone can experience the same transit and have a different reaction to it. Some people are like, oh my God, this sucks. It's like, well, it depends on how you're looking at it, right? So you want to just recenter, take the time you need to repurpose, I'm hearing reground, and really remain focused with what your story is. Love and light to you guys. I'll see you in the next